Hey guys, this is Grace from, well, I don't have actually a channel name yet, but probably it'll be there by the time that I upload this. But anyway, so I had my gastric VSG done about a week ago, a little over a week, and I'm going to share with you exactly what happened the whole week. Because it was like the first night was pretty brutal. So I'm not going to share with you the name of the hospital or the doctors that did my surgery, not because I don't have praises for them. I really liked my hospital and my doctor, but it's just yeah, if you're in Brazil, I mean, most of the people watching this will not be in Brazil anyway. So if you're in Brazil in the Paraná, Curitiba area, you can inbox me and I'll be more than happy to give you his number. But let's get back to where we started. So the 2 days before the surgery, I had to go on a liquid fast. It wasn't a fast, liquid diet. I could drink Powerade, I could drink water, I could drink whatnot. And then 8 to 12 hours before my surgery, I had to stop everything. But I had a problem because we're on the process of immigrating to another country. So what happened was I didn't drink anything and I needed to do a pee test that morning. It was like 8 o'clock and my surgery was booked for 1:30. Man, I tried and I drank like 1 or 2 cups, but they told me to, like, you have to rinse out with your pee first, and then anyway, I didn't have enough pee, so I had to drink, like, I ended up drinking like 3-4 cups of water that day that I was not supposed to do, and before I went into surgery. And I don't recommend this because the reason why they don't allow you to drink anything is because you might vomit that out during your surgery and it could choke you, right? But anyway, I told my doctor that I drank, and he said it was not a problem because I drank really early in the morning. But anyway, I had to drink and then I peed or whatever, but I think I peed everything out, I mean, before the surgery, and my tummy was pretty empty. So on the day of the surgery, they checked you in into your apartment or with your suit or whatever. Like, mine was a pretty fancy place, and I was hospitalized for 2 days. So I kind of felt safe. And also, like, I didn't have like a, what can I say, like a surgical trip. I live here in Curitiba, so it was just like the hospital's actually 20-minute drive from where I live, and one of the doctors that did the surgery, she's my neighbor, so so it wasn't like a big deal for me to, like, if something happens, I could just run down the road and tell her what the fuck, right? um, but yeah, anyway, the doctor that consulted me was not actually her. She did the surgery with my doctor. Both of them are actually my doctor, but I haven't even seen her face. I think she came into the surgery room when I was down. I just saw the doctor that worked with me throughout the entire process. And to be honest with you, I didn't research a lot before my surgery, and the reason why I did not do that, I mean, I researched about the recovery period, and you have to see a psychologist and you have to see a cardiologist, and they tell you like a lot of things. But I went to those like 2 days before my surgery, and they actually put a translator for me, which was fantastic. They had people that spoke English, and my husband couldn't come with me that day, so he was translating for me, and they were telling me the psychological effect that it might have and all that stuff. And just, I think one of the very important thing, I don't know how it works in North America, but one of the very important thing when you're doing it privately, you need to make sure that your doctor goes through the right process, which is for you to see a nutritionist before you go there, for you to see a psychologist to see if you're like mentally okay to go under this surgery, and for you to see a cardiologist, to, like, all these things like that needs to be done. So if you have a doctor that just wants to sell you the surgery and does not care if you're gonna die on the freaking table, or there's gonna be complication because your heart couldn't handle certain things or your liver couldn't, my doctor did a full screen. Like, I had to check my liver, I had to check my lungs, I had to check my, like, everything possible I had to check. They had to check if I was pregnant. They did the entire thing, and that made me feel really safe with this doctor in particular, because they were doing the things in the correct way. And the hospital that I did my surgery, they're kind of the reference for doing gastric surgeries. So I was pretty confident, and the doctor that in mine is actually the son of the owner of the hospital. So yeah, I was like, okay, he was relatively young, like younger than most doctors, but you know, he did like what, more than 5,000 surgeries within the last 2 years. So I was pretty like, you know, calm about things and whatnot. Yeah. So anyway, like I had to shower with this orange thing. It's to sanitize before my surgery. So they told me not to wash my hair, not my face, but I had to, like, from the neck down all the way down, my body had to be orange. That was really funny. And after it became orange, I could rinse everything off, and then my of course my skin didn't um, stay orange, but my husband helped me make sure that there was no funny spots missing. You cannot wear anything, like I have a silicone plug, but I had to take that out. I didn't wear my wedding ring to the hospital because I was scared I would lose it, and also by that time I was getting a lot of swelling on my hands, so I didn't do that. And I think you're not even allowed to wear like nail polish, or if you want to wear nail polish, it has to be a clear nail polish. And but my feet, I did a gel, so whatever, they didn't complain. And after they like I washed myself up, and you have to scrub every inch possible because it's to like so that there will be no bacterias, right? And then they give you this robe and hair thing. You cannot wear your hairband too, so you have to put it in this net. And I wore contacts that day because every time I do surgical procedures, I cannot take my glasses like with me. So I always do I always put contacts on, because when I don't put contacts on, I cannot see anything, and it frustrates me and it freaks me out even more. So yeah. And then they put me on the bed, and then they took me to this room where you have to kind of wait for your doctor that puts you to sleep, anesthesists. And then one came, and then there was another one that said that he was gonna be my doctor for the day. And then he spoke English pretty well, so we were chatting, and he was like really nice. Like he put me step by step, like, oh, now I'm gonna put this drug on you, oh, now I have to find your vein, or oh, I need to do this. And then I was like, oh, are you going to be here? Or I don't know what I asked, like, but it wasn't really like to check if he will be here with me for the whole surgery. But I think he thought that was what I was asking, and he just said that yeah, I'm gonna be here through your entire surgery, don't worry. Yeah, whatever. I wasn't really like, I was freaking out a little bit. Like I saw my surgeon like on the table, like all wrapped, because they like when you're under, like sometimes you move your things, so they have to kind of like tie you up. And my surgeon's like, how are you feeling? And I'm like, no, how are you feeling? Because you're doing the surgery on me. And they were both like, no, how are you feeling? Like, are you excited? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm freaking out. And then I remember my anesthetist telling me that he's going to inject the thing to make me sleepy, and my chest just tightened, like I couldn't breathe, I remember. And then I just went down. I don't remember from then. And then when I woke up, I couldn't breathe too. And I thought I was in pain, that's why I couldn't breathe, because I was feeling pain and I couldn't breathe. So I told the nurse, and the nurse, like, I don't know what she said. I think I spoke in Portuguese to try to tell her, but like it was like, I don't remember that time. And then it got to a point where I really couldn't breathe, and no one was coming to me. But they always had their eyes on me, like they didn't leave me by myself. And then I started like hitting the rail, because I didn't know if people were like, they were hearing me, and I didn't know if they could see how desperate I was, because I really couldn't breathe, man. And then the nurse came, and then she's like, no, we will give you something, we'll give you something. And then she ended up giving me morphine. I only know that because she said it's morphine. And then I felt much better afterwards. And then my anesthetist came, and then he asked me if I was okay, and I told him I was in a lot of pain. Didn't seem like he cared, or maybe he said something, but I don't remember him saying anything. But it's like, I mean, they cut your stomach out, come on, they put like 5 holes in your stomach, of course it's gonna hurt, right? Because I asked my doctor about that, and he told me, don't worry, there's gonna be anesthetist. If you're in pain, he will make sure that you don't feel any pain. And that was not the case. But anyway, and then I went into the room, and from the room I started feeling much better. Like I could still feel a little bit of pain. I remember the first night I still felt pain. But the worst thing and the thing that really tripped me was the hunger pangs. Oh my god. I woke up feeling so hungry, and not that that only like pissed me off, but it discouraged me so much. I'm like, I did this freaking surgery that was elective for me, and to so that I wouldn't get hungry, so I could lose weight, and I'm feeling so hungry. I've never felt this much hunger in my entire life, and I was so desperate, and I was starting to go into like a dark spot, and it was really not cool. And but luckily, I think a lot of people prayed for me for the surgery. I just felt like warmth and like love surrounding me, and kind of like God lifting me up and kind of saying, Grace, you're gonna be okay, and all that. So that was really cool. But anyway, so I started freaking out, and the hunger pangs, I think it was actually acid. My husband researched about it because I asked him to just Google something, because my doctor traveled to another city and I didn't want to bother anyone, and I thought maybe it's a normal thing. And it was like a lot of acid, right? That evening, I had to do, like, they kept giving me drops for antibiotics, painkillers, and nausea. And I wanted to vomit. My drips for antibiotics was horrible. It was horrible. Every time they, like, we figured out like a day later, my second day, that every time they put that on me, I would want to vomit. I had to do breathing exercises. So the first time I did actually vomit, I vomited some shit out. I'm glad I did, because it was like orange, pink, and I don't know, it was like all the yucky things from like them stuffing things through your throat and all that. And it was just horrible. I did not like that. But I vomited, and my husband started freaking out because he hates blood. And then what happened was, like, the nurse came and told us that was normal, don't worry about it, the first time it's like whatever. And then I did not want to drink water, so they kept giving me drips. The first time, and I wasn't allowed to drink water because I had to pass the blue liquid test, which is you consume this blue liquid and they see from your drainage, like for a few hours they observe you to see if you have any blue liquid, and if you do, then you have to go back in for surgery. That means you're leaking, which is the worst nightmare of gastric sleeve, right? And then I did the blue test after about a day, I guess, like after I think about like more than, so I came out of surgery around 5, and the next day around 10 they brought me the blue ink, and I had to drink it, and it was like torture. Not only because like it tasted like crap, and I mean, I don't know why they can sweeten that shit. It's really, 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 really ugly. It's like bitter, like, okay, I'll explain it. It tastes like this. They squash like a pill that you're supposed to swallow, those bitter pill, and they mix with the water. That's what it tastes like, but it's really, really blue. And then I was taking little sip by little sips, because if I took bigger sips, like my chest hurt a lot. So that was really hard. And then I eventually got everything down. And then a few hours later, the nurse kept checking. And I kept checking too, because my drainage bag was right here. And it was clear. So I was super happy about that. And then after that, they clear you for like tea and food, and not food, never food, for tea and like things that you can drink. And the thing is, like, the first thing that they brought, I didn't drink because we thought that was for my husband, because we ordered his food at the hospital too. He was staying in the room. We had a 2-bedroom like apartment thing going on. Like, there was like a lounge area, and there was it was like fancy as hell. And he slept next to, there was 2 sleeper couch, like 2 TVs, everything. And then we ordered the food from the hospital for my husband for lunch, right? And then we thought that the tea that they gave us came with my husband's food. So we thought, like, because my husband's like, oh, this is nice, they're giving me tea. And we were both like, oh, okay, like, but I was on drips all the time. And then they took me off drips, and then my husband asked the nurse, when are you putting Grace back on drips? And then the nurse said, like, oh, I'm not really worried, she's drinking, right? And we're like, no, I haven't drank anything since the blue stuff. And I don't want to drink, because I tried drinking water, and it really, really, like, I didn't like it. It wasn't that I didn't like it. It was really difficult for me to drink it. It was frustrating. It was, I mean, you have to relearn everything, right? I mean, you're used to, like, I'm used to gulping 2 liters of water at one go. Yes, at one go, because I don't like drinking and I always forget, and I needed to hydrate myself, so I would like drink a large amount of water at one time. Sorry, this door is pissing me off. So sorry about that. That's what happened. And then the the first, yeah, where was I? I'll have to edit this video anyway. Yeah, so I didn't want to drink, and my husband kept saying, and then the doctor came. Not my doctor, like, it's like the whole team. I think I saw like 2 3 different doctors, and none of them did my surgery. But anyway, they're all like, they have the same information. They work very closely together, so they're like a unit. And my doctor that did my surgery, I think she was pregnant, and my other doctor that was actually my doctor, he flew to some other city because of something right after my surgery. So there were other doctors, and they were really nice. Like, they were like surgical gastric doctors anyway. And there was one doctor in particular that saw me twice, like in the morning and in the evenings. That evening, and he said that I need to drink. He said, you need to drink and you need to walk as soon as possible. So, and then I had like a nutritionist come into my room and explain things, and then I had psychologists come into my room and explain things, and then I had like, so every doctor that I saw there, like, they came to check up on me to see if I was okay, how I was feeling. Not doctor, but like all the professionals, like psychologists, nutritionists, and physio. And then they brought in a physiotherapist, and then she was crazy. But anyway, she showed me some things I need to do, and she scared the living crap out of me because she kept saying, like, you need to move, you need to move, you need to move, and don't give excuses that someone didn't remind you. It's your job to move. Like, she was like straight on. I was like, okay, I like this woman. But anyway, so like, she gave me this exercise that, like, you, like, with your toe, let's say this is your feet, you have to kind of like put your heels up and down when you feel low blood pressure, and you have to walk around at least like 3 times a day. And she said, like, just keep moving, you cannot stop. And it's so to prevent blood clots, right? Which usually start in your calf and then it goes down into your lungs, and that's very dangerous. So they told me like ridiculous amount of things that I needed to do when I left there. But anyway, so the first day went like that. The second day, the day that I was supposed to be discharged, the first day in the evening when the doctor came and I told him that I had really difficult time and I vomited, he said that maybe I will need to stay one more night because they need to make sure that I can get fluids down before they can release me. And I didn't want to stay another day. It was so boring, and my husband was bored to death, I think, and he had to work, and like, there wasn't much resources there that he could do his job. He had practically like working on his phone the whole time. And then and I miss my son, and like all that stuff. And then I tried, and then it got better, and then yeah, but it was still very difficult. So the next day they released me. They came and they took the drain out, and they left the stitches because I had to see my surgeon 7 days after that. And then they released me for the next day. I'm going to put another video of how I took care of myself after, because this video is already like 18 minutes and yeah, it's pretty boring. So yeah, so check the other video out.